So, what is mycoplasma and how mycoplasma is different or same from bacteria? So, the mycoplasma are small pleomorphic. Pleomorphic, that means of different shape. Like there is not only a particular shape, there are different types of shape. That's why mycoplasma also called as pleomorphic, and divide by budding. Budding, that means like mycoplasma, which is a single cell. So the single cell which will be elongated in size, and after elongation there will be formation of a bud. Okay, and after some time the bud will be separate. So the colonies of mycoplasma on agar exhibit a characteristics, so that will be looks like fried egg. Fried egg appearance because of the formation of dense central core surrounded by lighter circular spreading area. Okay. So the growth of mycoplasma is not inhibited by penicillin. Like if we will treat the mycoplasma with the penicillin, that we can't stop the growth of the mycoplasma, or other antibiotics that inhibit cell wall synthesis. But if we will just use the different types of antibiotics, then they will be inhibit the cell wall synthesis, and but they are sensitive to tetracycline. Sensitive, that means they will be give response against tetracycline. If we are going to treat with the tetracycline, that means it will be inhibit the growth of the mycoplasma. But if we will treat with the penicillin, then it can't stop or inhibit the growth of the mycoplasma. Then Spiroplasma, the genus is important plant pathogenically and has corkscrew shaped cells. So they are motile and exhibit undulating or rotating movement. Spiroplasma citri has been citrus associated with citrus plant, where it causes citrus stubborn diseases. Okay, like citrus stubborn disease which caused by the mycoplasma, and they will be cause the disease in the plant and basically in citrus plant. Okay, and corn plants which causes corn stunt. After that, the phytoplasma, they were earlier called MLO, that means mycoplasma like organism, and were found to be associated with several yellows and witches broom diseases after their discovery, and this discovery was by Doi scientists. Okay, so they are different from mycoplasma in the sense that they cannot be cultured on synthetic media. Synthetic media, that means we can't culture the mycoplasma in the laboratories or in the synthetic media. Okay, only we can grow naturally. So it is showed that the phytoplasma comprise a coherent group distinct from other prokaryotes. So their closest relatives are in the genus Acleoplasma. Okay. So as they have not been cultured on artificial medium in vitro and characterized apart from their host. So they are referred to candidatus status. That means these can't grow in the culture media or in the artificial media. Okay, but they can easily grow inside their host. That's why they will be also called as candidatus status. So they are associated with about 200 plant diseases including ester yellow, apple proliferation, peanut, witches, broom, peach, X disease, rice yellow dwarf and elm yellows. So these all the diseases which caused by the phytoplasma. So they are phloem inhibiting organisms and are graft transmissible in nature and can also be transmitted by leaf hopper. Transmitted, that means how they will be transferred from one plant to another plant. Okay. And how they will be dispersed from one plant to another plant, so they always require a vector. Okay. After that, phytoplasma in plant cell. So that is the appearance of phytoplasma in the plant cell. Like you are showing a cell wall. सेल वॉल दिख रही है तुम लोगों को यहाँ पे सराउंडिंग में, ये जो चारों तरफ जो ये वॉल बनी हुई है वो है यहाँ पे प्लांट की सेल वॉल, और जो इसके अंदर जो डॉट डॉट स्ट्रक्चर जो दिख रही है वो है फाइटोप्लाज्मा. ओके. After that, bacteria as plant pathogen, like how the bacteria which will be infect the plant and how they will be called as a plant pathogen, and which kind of disease is caused by the bacteria. Okay. So bacteria are known to grow in a wide range of habitat. All the plant pathogenic bacteria are mesophilic. Mesophilic, that means they can grow at a temperature of 20 to 35 degrees centigrade. That's why the bacteria, those will be including between this temperature range like 20 to 35 degrees centigrade, then they all will be included in mesophilic. Okay. Like some bacteria, those can survive at a low temperature like 0 degree centigrade or 0 to 5 degree centigrade, then they will be known as sacrophiles. Okay. Sacrophiles, that means the bacteria those can survive at a low temperature. and remain in the host plant as plant parasite and only partially in plant residue or as a saprophytes in soil. Like by different ways, the bacteria can survive. Like some are mesophilic, and all the plant pathogenic bacteria are mesophilic. Okay, so they always require a moderate temperature or a normal temperature. That's why they can easily survive in the plants and remain in the host plant and plant parasites and only partially in plant residues or as a saprophytes in soil. So some bacteria, those can also live as a saprophytes. Saprophytes, that means the bacteria, those can survive on the dead and decaying matter of plant and they can survive in the soil. Okay, because they can get the nutrients from the plant residues. So they enter the plants either through natural openings such as stomata, lenticels, or hydrathodes, or through the wounds. Like bacteria, those can uh, those can pass and they will be just reach in the human body by in the plant by different ways, like through the stomata, through the lenticels or hydrathodes, or through the wounds. Because sometimes there is a different types of injury in the plant, like mechanical injury in the plant. So due to that, there will be wounds. So through these wounds, the bacteria or the fungi, which can easily possible to infect the plant. Because sometimes the bacteria, those can't lysis or can't degrade the cell wall of the plant. So, in that type of condition, the bacteria which will be reached in the plant, like through the stomata, through the lenticels, or through the hydrathodes. Okay, so the presence of free water is essential for bacterial infection. Once inside the plant tissue, then they multiply only if there is water at a very high humidity. Like always, to cause the infection in the plant, the bacteria, those require always the presence of free water, which is essential for bacterial infection. Okay? Like water will be free, like flowing water will be there. In that kind of condition, the bacteria which can cause the infection. Okay, so once inside the plant tissue, they multiply only if there is water or at a very high humidity. Like we can say that to cause the infection, bacteria always require water. Okay, so like where the water supply will be there in the plant, only in that kind of condition, the bacteria, those can infect the plant or they will be multiply only in that particular area. So they multiply in the intracellular space and produce pactolytic and other cell wall degrading enzymes, thereby creating more space to move inside the host tissue. That means pactolytic and the other cell wall degrading enzyme, like the bacteria, those will be secrete different types of enzymes, and these enzymes are degrading enzyme. So by which there will be degradation. So thereby creating more space to move inside the host tissue. So they kill the host cell by the action of extracellularly released enzymes and toxins and subsequently invade the dead cells, and most of the bacterial pathogens are necrotrophs. Okay, just tell me what is necrotrophs? What do you understand by necrotrophs? हर्षिता, क्या होता है बेटा नेक्रोट्रॉप? हेलो, नेक्रोट्रॉप क्या होता है, कोई बता सकता है? हेलो, हर्षिता, नितेश, मनीष, बोलोगे भी? अरे आता है तो बता दो, वरना मना तो करो। बेटा से यस और नो, आर यू देयर? मनीष, नितेश, कम से कम रिप्लाई तो दिया करो। Like they kill the host cell by the action of extracellularly released enzyme and toxins. So they will be released the enzyme by which they will be degrade the cell wall of the plant, and after that they will be invade. Okay. So most of the bacterial pathogens are necrotrophs. Necrotrophs, that means firstly they will attack on the living organism or living plant, and after that only they will be responsible to kill that particular pathogen. So some are apparently biotrophs. Biotrophs, that means those will be survive or complete their life cycle only on in the living host. Okay. So some species colonize the xylem vessels, and because of their physical presence or the slime ultimately cause the plugging of the water conducting tissue, and they will be cause the wilt symptoms, because always the bacteria which is required free living water or free form of water to cause the infection in the plant. That's why they will be basically comes in the contact with xylem and phloem, like for the food, for the nutrition, and So they will be directly comes in the contact of xylem and phloem, and then they will be inhibit the transportation of xylem or phloem. That's why we are saying that like presence or the slime ultimately cause the plugging of the water conducting tissue, and they will be cause wilt symptoms. So the plant pathogenic bacteria produce various types of symptoms in plants as are caused by fungal pathogen. So they cause soft rot of vegetable. So the symptoms will be like wilts, canker, scab, and also overgrowth. Okay, these all are the symptoms of plant pathogenic bacteria. Those will be produce different types of symptoms. Okay, after that, classification of bacterial plant pathogen. Classification, like there is the traditionally bacteria have been included in plantae kingdom under the Thallophyta, like Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta. These are the kingdom. Okay, so in plantae kingdom, basically the bacteria which is under the Thallophyta. So, however, the Haeckel in 1966 proposed the kingdom Protista to include all unicellular organisms that and placed various organisms of Thallophyta plants and protozoa animals in Protista. Okay. Then later, the nucleus characters was given more important. So there is the Caton proposed the most appropriate conceptual basis for taxa at the highest level by recognizing two general patterns of cellular organisms and prokaryotes and eukaryotes in 1937. After that, the bacteria also including in Animalia kingdom. Then a scientist was there, that is Steiner, in 1969. They consider prokaryotes as lower protist, including blue-green algae, myxobacteria, and eubacteria, and eukaryotes as a higher protist, in which includes like algae, fungi, and protozoa. So prokaryotes, those are recognized by a separate kingdom. Okay. So according to them, basically there are three division. That is Gracilicutes. Division two is Firmicutes, and division three is that is Tenericutis. So, Gracilicots, they include the prokaryotes with thin cell wall and consisting of outer membrane with fatty acid alcohol So they include the prokaryotes within cell wall, thin cell wall, those consisting of outer membrane with fatty acid and glycerol. And these are the usually gram-negative bacteria, and they do not form endospores. Then division 2 is firmicutes. So it included the prokaryotes with thick cell wall, which is consisting of peptidoglycan and the unit membrane, but without any outer membrane. So some of their produce the endospores. Then third division is that is tenericutes. So they will be lack of a cell wall, and the cells are enclosed by a unit membrane only, and they include the molecules or mycoplasma like organism that is called phytoplasma. Okay, so up to here the classification of bacteria is it completed. Is it enough for today or we have to continue? Hello,
Yes, ma'am.
is it enough for today or we have to continue?
What the ma'am?
समझ में आ गया यहाँ तक? हेलो, नहीं
Yes,
समझ
ma'am.
में आया?
आज नहीं आ गया.
नहीं भी आएगा तब भी यही कहोगे समझ में आ गया, क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम तो जब आती है जब हम लोग पढ़ाई करते हैं, पढ़ाई तो हम करते ही नहीं है, तो प्रॉब्लम कहाँ से आएगी, है ना?
नहीं मैम, नहीं आता तो क्या ही रहता है मैम, ऐसे कुछ.
तुमने तो ज्वाइन ही अब किया है यश।
मैं पूछ रहा था मैम इनसे, मैं भी किसी काम में फंस गया था. मैंने इसको बोल दिया था कि मैं थोड़ी देर में ज्वाइन कर लूंगा, मगर मैं अटक गया मैम कहीं. मैं इससे पढ़ लूंगा मैम, नितेश से.
ये वायरस के जनरल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स देख लेते हैं, फिर उसके बाद आगे नेक्स्ट क्लास में कर लेंगे, है ना?
ओके मैम.
एक्चुअली देखो बैक्टीरिया में क्या होता है, क्लासिफिकेशन तुम ज़्यादा मत पढ़ना। बैक्टीरियल क्लासिफिकेशन में ये जो अभी हमने तीनों ये डिवीज़न जो डिस्कस किए थे, एक बार बस इसको देख लेना, क्योंकि जो क्वेश्चन बनता है तुम लोगों के वो बेसिकली क्लासिफिकेशन से नहीं होता है, बैक्टीरियल क्लासिफिकेशन से, है ना? इसलिए बैक्टीरिया में जब भी पढ़ो उसके जनरल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स पढ़ना, और जो हमने इसमें ट्रांसडक्शन, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन और कॉन्जुगेशन वाला जो प्रोसीजर पढ़ा है उसका रिप्रोडक्शन, वो सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट होता है ना? वो वाला ज़रूर देख लेना, क्योंकि इनसे जो क्वेश्चन बनते हैं वो इसी टाइप के बनते हैं।
मैम आपने जो मतलब ये
हाँ
वाली जो पीडीएफ है इसमें ये जिसमें आप अभी पढ़ा रहे हो, ये मैम आप वैसे नोट में सेंड कर सकते हो क्या? क्योंकि एलएमएस तो हमारा ओपन नहीं हो रहा मैम.
हाँ, मैं सेंड कर दूंगी, पर एक बार मैं दोनों को लिंक करके फिर सेंड करूंगी। जैसे जैसे हमने पढ़ा ना, मैं वैसे वैसे पढ़ाऊंगी, फिर वैसे ही मैं सेंड कर दूंगी, है ना?
अभी मैम इससे पहले वाली पीडीएफ भी चाहिए थी मैम, वो भी नहीं.
हाँ, इससे पहले वाली में भेज दूंगी। पहले वाली में क्या था, थोड़ा ही नहीं, उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा एक्स्ट्रा भी है ना? और वो चीज़ें शायद
ओके.
तुम्हारे 5th सेम में फिर से आएगी, प्लांट पैथोलॉजी, इसलिए फिर मैंने उसमें से कम कर दिया। वैसे वो तुम्हारे आउट ऑफ सिलेबस है, पर अगर तुम अपने इंटरेस्ट से पढ़ना चाहो तो मैं तुम लोगों को सेंड कर दूंगी, तुम लोग देख लेना।
यस मैम।
क्योंकि अभी तो क्या है, ये फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ प्लांट पैथोलॉजी है। अब जो आएगा तुम्हारे, वो आएगा प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ प्लांट पैथोलॉजी एंड प्लांट पैथोजेंस। तो फिर उसमें हम ये सारा सब कुछ पढ़ते हैं। देख लेना, फिर भी मैं तुम्हें सारी पीपीटीज दे दूंगी, ये वाली भी वो वाली भी, जिसमें तुम्हें कंफर्टेबल लगी। लेकिन जो स्टार्टिंग की जो मैंने तुम्हें भेजी थी, जो फर्स्ट यूनिट जो मैंने तुम्हें जो पीपीटीज दी थी, वो तुम उसी से पढ़ना।
यस मैम।
ठीक है, और उसके आगे का तुम इससे पढ़ना, क्योंकि वो बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी है और उसमें कुछ कुछ जो जितनी ये डेफिनेशंस वगैरह हैं, वो इजीली तुम्हें समझ में आ जाएगी, है ना। ओके, so now characteristics of viruses which separate them from other causes of plant pathogens are, so they are acellular, they are submicroscopic or intracellular, they lack lipid membrane system and energy production, so they use host machinery for their replication. That's why the viruses are differ from other plant pathogens. Okay, and like we can say that these are the mesobiotic, not completely living or not completely non-living. Whenever they will be comes in the contact of living organism, then they will be act as a living, or whenever they will be comes in the contact of non-living, then they can act as a non-living. But always the viruses which use the host machinery for their replication. Okay, they can't have their self this kind of machinery. They have to use the host machinery for their replication. Okay, so structure of virus, like viron is a technical term used for the virus particle. A virion consists of nucleic acid, which is surrounded by a protein coat. So the nucleic acid is called as nucleoid. Okay, which may be either deoxyribonucleic acid, maybe they can have DNA, or maybe they will be have RNA. And some viruses, those consist both, like DNA or RNA. Okay, but mostly RNA in plant viruses. Basically, the viruses those infect the plant, they basically RNA viruses, but never both, and forms the genome. Okay, and the protein code is called capsid. स्ट्रक्चर तो तुम लोगों ने देखी होगी वायरसेस की, कभी कभार देखना, ऐसे बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स सी स्ट्रक्चर दिखाई होती है, और इसमें जो मेन थिंग होती है वो होता है उसका प्रोटीन कोड और कैप्सिड, जिसकी वजह से ये क्या करते हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा रेसिस्टेंसी भी शो करते हैं किसी भी ड्रग के लिए। ओके, लेट्स कम टू द न्यूक्लियोइड। The nucleic acid component is located internally within a protein core. Only one type of nucleic acid, either RNA or DNA, is found in a virus. So, the amount of nucleic acid in a virion varies from 1 to 50%. Higher percentage of nucleic acid is associated with larger DNA viruses like bacteriophage, while low content is found in animal viruses. So, the nucleic acid is infectious part and contains the genetic information for the synthesis of proteins and its own replication and their assembly into the virion. Most of the plant viruses, those contain RNA, with exception like cauliflower mosaic virus. Then capsid. The capsid is a protein cord surrounding the nucleoid and has the following functions. It protects nucleic acid from unfavorable extracellular environment, so it facilitates nucleic acid entry into the host cell, and it is antigenic. As compared to nucleoid, the protein cord shows a complex structure and provides shape to the virus particles. It interacts with the vector for specific transmission. Morphology of viruses. Viruses are of different shapes and size. They may be elongated, spherical, or cylindrical. Elongated, rigid rods of flaccid threads, spherical, isometric, or polyhedral, cylindrical, bacillus like rods. So basically, these are the shape: flaccid rod shaped virus, rigid rod shaped virus, or polyhedral virus particles. Some elongated viruses are rigid rods about 15 into 300 nanometer in size, but most appear as long, thin, flexible threads that are usually 1 to 10 nanometer wide and 480 to 12,000 nm in length. Rhabdoviruses. Rhabdoviruses are short, bacillus like cylindrical rods, approximately 3 to 5 times as long as they are wide, that is 52 to 75 into 300 to 380 nanometer in size. So most spherical viruses are actually polyhedral, ran- ranging in diameter from about 17 nanometer, that is tobacco necrosis satellite virus, to 60 nanometer wound tumor virus. Then tomato spotted wilt virus is surrounded by a membrane and has a flexible spherical shape about 100 nanometer in diameter. Many plant viruses have a split genome which consisting of two or more distinct nucleic acid strands encapsulated in different sizes particles made of the same protein subunits. For example, bipartite tobacco rattle virus consisting of two rods, a long one that is 195 to 25 nanometer and a shorter one that is 43 into 25 nanometer, and multipartite alpha alpha mosaic virus consisting of four components of different sizes. Composition and structure of viral proteins. Viral proteins, like all proteins, consist of amino acids. The sequence of amino acid within a protein, which is encoded by the sequence of nucleotides in the genetic material. Viral proteins, like all proteins which consist of amino acid, the sequence of amino acid within a protein, which is encoded by the sequence of nucleotides in the genetic material. So it determines the nature and the properties of different diseases. For example, the protein subunit of tobacco mosaic virus, which consists of 158 amino acids in a constant sequence and has a mass of 17,600 daltons. Now, composition and structure of viral nucleic acid. Nucleic acid of most plant viruses consist of RNA, but now a larger number of viruses have been shown to contain. Composition and structure of viral nucleic acid. Nucleic acid of most plant viruses consist of RNA, but now a larger number of viruses, those have also been shown to contain DNA. And so nucleic acid of most plant viruses consist of RNA, but now a larger number of viruses have also been shown to contain DNA and its genome. Both RNA and DNA, so both RNA and DNA are long chain like molecules consisting of hundreds or most of them thousands of units called nucleotide. Each nucleotide consists of a ring compound that is called the base attached to a 5 carbon sugar, that is ribose in RNA, deoxyribose in DNA, which in turn is attached to the phosphoric acid. The sugar of one nucleotide reacts with the phosphate of another nucleotide, which is repeated many times. Thus, forming the RNA of DNA strand. So the first two, adenine and guanine, are purines and interact with the pyrimidines, uracil and cytosine. Then virus infection and transmission. Virus infection and synthesis. Plant viruses enters cells only through the wound. You may virus infection and synthesis. Plant viruses enter cells only through the wound made mechanically or made by vectors or are deposited into an ovule by an infected. In RNA replication of RNA virus, the nucleic acid RNA is first freed from the protein coat. It induces the host cell to form the viral RNA polymerase. So the RNA polymerase utilize the viral RNA as a template. So the RNA polymerase, which utilize the viral RNA as a template and forms complementary RNA, the first new RNAs produced are not the viral RNA but are the mirror image complementary copies of that DNA.